Hi everyone, Janet here. I have a question for you. Have you ever watched those wildlife programs, the kind of David Attenborough wildlife programs that follow the Great Sardine Run, which usually happens in the Pacific or the Indian Ocean at certain times of the year, where millions, if not billions, of these little silverfish gather together, safety in numbers, and set off on a many 100-mile trek to better feeding grounds. It is a sight to behold. They are so synchronized, they almost look like a solid body. But I can guarantee if you were to put your hand in and try and grab one of those little silverfish, they would just scatter in all directions and you would come up empty-handed because they are slippery little chaps. For years, that's exactly how I saw my ADHD mind. I didn't know I had ADHD, but I always used to refer to trying to harness my ideas as chasing silverfish. I used to say to people, the closer I get to try and make that idea real, it just skitters away, fast as anything, darting and sparkling and completely out of reach. So today I want to talk about finally finding the net to actually harness some of those silverfish, some of those amazing thoughts and ideas. But first of all, a little bit about me. I'm Janet. I am 67 years old, retired. I have lived and worked all over the world in executive positions for big media companies or for large tech companies. So I've lived in Hong Kong and Tokyo and China, London, and many different cities in the USA. And of course, I've traveled to all points in between. So very lucky. And I have no regrets about that career. However, on paper, it looked pretty amazing. The jobs are big, they're global, they're exciting, they take me here, there, and everywhere. In reality, it was very different. And I sort of laugh about it, not even trying to fit a round peg into a square hole. It was more like trying to fit a lit firework into a cardboard box. And consequently, my career was a roller coaster of ups and downs. It was cloaked in stress, had as many failures as it had successes. And even though I recognize how fortunate I was, it took an enormous emotional toll on me. I was actually talking to a girlfriend the other day who worked with me in Japan, and she said, looking back, she had such fond memories. I said, looking back, all I could see was anxiety. Everything was through this lens of stress and worry because it was a very high-pressured environment that just did not work for my ADHD thinking style. So fast forward to retirement, and two things happened almost simultaneously. First of all, about 18 months ago, my sister sent me my first exposure to an AI tool. It wasn't even ChatGPT, it was something else. And I find it very hard to explain, but the moment I asked that AI tool to do something for me, and it right in front of my eyes created this structured, layered, multifaceted framework, my mind was officially blown. My ADHD mind was absolutely wowed by this. I just couldn't believe it. I mean, how many times have you tried to figure out how to get all of those chaotic thoughts down in that linear structure that is required? I certainly had done it probably thousands of times over my 40-year career. So to see something like that just happen was quite extraordinary. And I became obsessed with AI. I just became so fascinated by it that I even launched a newsletter. The newsletter was called, I just renamed it, AI for Everyone. And over a year of trying to spread the word about AI, because I was passionate about it, so of course I thought everybody else should be passionate about it, I realized that I had just created this extraordinary body of work. I mean, I had never been more productive in my entire life. And that really is the nub of the issue. A few months later, I finally got a confirmation that about the ADHD I suspected I had. When that happened, my life suddenly made sense. And I've heard so many people say this with a late in life diagnosis, that all of a sudden, everything just clicks into place. You can understand why you made the decisions you made, the choices you made, took the paths you made, the things you did right, the things you did wrong, the relationships you had, everything makes sense. And with that understanding, by the way, comes a great deal of self-forgiveness. I think having the ADHD confirmation was one of the most cathartic things ever to happen to me at the ripe old age of 66 at the time. So now I had this obsession with artificial intelligence, and I'd spent, a year, 18 months really getting to know generative AI in particular. I had this understanding, this growing understanding of my ADHD, and I understood the obsession. I understood it because this was really the yin to my brain's yang. For all of the ideas I had careening around inside my head, this was my operational partner to actually land them. It was the linear to my lateral, the left brain to my right brain. I realized, looking back on that body of work, that I had become a creative and productive powerhouse. No question about it. My goal is to spread the word and to share this with more ADHD thinkers. Now, this is not just a case of going back to ChatGPT and putting in some prompts. This is about learning how to build a symbiotic relationship with AI. It's not about chasing shiny, bright new tools. It's about finding a few trusted tools that you can work with, that you can integrate into your life in a truly meaningful way, that you can rely on, lean on, brainstorm with, work collaboratively with, enhance your strengths, and maybe just supplement those areas where you might need a little bit of support. When I look at all the channels about ADHD that are out there, I really enjoy them. They are about awareness, understanding, and discovery, which are always fantastically interesting. There are channels about the humor in ADHD, and I think it's wonderful because I find it a lot easier to laugh at myself now. Now I understand that it's just my mind, just the way it is. And then there are probably the majority of channels that are talking about workarounds. How can you manage your productivity in more of a typical way? How can you get better at timekeeping? How can you get better at deadlines? How can you get over procrastination? So we're a little bit different in that what I really want to talk about is the amplification, not the reduction of our thinking style. I'm not trying to squish us into that linear expectation, but to find ways to amplify our productivity in a much more constructive way. So welcome to Chasing Silverfish. I'm thrilled you're here. I would really appreciate a sub. I am absolutely determined to get the word out because this idea of this symbiotic partnership with AI could be game-changing, if not life-changing for many people with ADHD. So I am a woman on a mission. And to get us started, if you check the bio here, you will see links to 2 free ebooks. One of them is named Chasing Silverfish, and that's sort of the story of how I arrived at this point. And the other one is about AI and your ADHD mind. And that one shows 12 very specific use cases in a work situation where AI can be utilized in ways that you might not have thought of initially when you're looking at just chatting with ChatGPT. So thank you. I am very excited about this channel and look forward to seeing you soon.
Gotta be me in the light of the dark with the fire.